President Obama signed a $7.5 billion aid package yesterday that will help Pakistan build roads, schools, power facilities, and other civilian projects. And while the Pakistani stock market gained overnight on that aid infusion, our next guest says that the cash may be destructive for Pakistan. Here to tell us why is Arvind Subramanian. He's a senior fellow at the Peterson Institute, formerly assistant director in the research department of the IMF. Good morning to you, sir. Why is $7.5 billion in aid not necessarily the help that Pakistan needs right now?
Right. You know, the underlying premise of this strategy by the Obama administration is actually very good, in the sense that previously much of the aid was given for security-related reasons, but now the administration has made the calculation that what Pakistan needs is to change, is to get economic growth and development going, to fundamentally change things, even on the security side. So that's why it's reorienting, it's giving more aid, but also reorienting aid away from security reasons to developmental purposes.
But the argument can be made that social health, economic health is something you need to see before you really get, a populace that's complacent or at least in favor of the ruling government, and that plays into the question of security.
Exactly. So it's a good premise to start with. The problem is it going to work in practice? And my fear is that we run the risk of having the kind of worst of both possible worlds, in the following sense, that generally we know that aid that's given works if the recipient government is either willing or able to spend the money well. Mm-hmm. Now, we know in the case of Pakistan from the past, and a Harvard University study shows this, that a lot of the money gets wasted. So what has changed now that will make this money be better spent than all the infusions that took place in the past?
Are there any stipulations that you know of on this $7.5 billion on how exactly it's going to be spent?
Well, I mean, the U.S. government is going to impose a lot of conditions in terms of where the money is spent, okay, and what procedures need to be followed. The problem is, however, we've learned from, the World Bank and the IMF have learned that putting more conditions doesn't get you better results if the recipient government is not able or willing to spend the money. And that's where the second problem is, the second risk, that you put all these conditions, the image of the U.S. in Pakistan suffers because it's seen as being very intrusive and undermining sovereignty. And as you know, if you look at the Pew attitude surveys in Pakistan, the Obama effect, which is charming the world, is not working in Pakistan, because only 16% of the people are favorable to the United States. Now, this aid package with all the conditions carries the risk that that unfavorable image might get aggravated in Pakistan because there are too many conditions, and the U.S. is seen to be calling the shots.
And we were just showing, sir, a video of some of the attacks that have taken place in Pakistan over the past week. Quickly, sir, can you give us a sense of what the reality is on the ground?
I mean, the reality is that, things are very difficult. The government is having to cope with many problems simultaneously. But the real question is whether it has the will and the ability to deliver economic development and thereby bring about a better political situation to address the security problem and the extremist problem.
All right. Thank you so much, Arvind Subramanian of the Peterson Institute, reacting to that $7.5 billion in aid and the wave of militant attacks that have been troubling Pakistan during this past week.